G'day and welcome to the Inforunners. I'm Execute and I'm joined by Haze.
Hello, Haze.
And Disco Algared over here. How you guys doing? Today we're going to be talking about the survey that kind of came out after Chris Roberts was on RTV, and the different options that were given pointed towards the community and what our take is on each one of those points, and kind of give our opinion at the end and why we think so. And we're also interested to know what you guys kind of thought about that.
And also the much rejoicing points as well.
Sorry,
this is a back Alpha 3.2 feature survey. If you haven't seen it already, you should check it out. It is interesting. We'll provide a link in the comments down below so you can check it out.
Yeah, just a side note before we get started. I do like the fact that they're doing surveys again. It really took me back to many years ago when they were doing surveys on a quite irregular basis, where it actually made me feel inclusive in the game, and I hope they do this as a feature going forward.
Yep. And it's not just, the one option. We've got our first choice, second choice, third choice, and we've got the same choices there. So it actually is giving us a real 1, 2, 3 choices, which is great.
And it even Chris Roberts himself mentioned that when they did surveys in the past, they were surprised by some of the responses they got. The one he used was exploration as a profession when they were doing what people were most looking forward to in the game, and it was about 70% of people said exploration, and it totally, like, he just always assumed it was going to be combat, and it totally changed what he had envisioned the game to be.
It changed where he was taking the game.
To be honest, you can see the same trend in this survey, which we'll go into a bit later, and I'll show you why.
Yeah,
and brings much rejoicing for me.
All right, so the survey we're talking about here, just give me a second to get onto my browser, is this one here, which is on this link here up at this website. You can also find it from the front page of Robert Space Industries just by scrolling down, and it's right here. Anyway, so the first thing is the feature improvements. So the first one we're going to be talking about today is quantum linking. So I guess I'll ask Algared here straight off the bat. What's your take on this, Algared?
Well, I actually like the idea of quantum linking. I like the idea of being able to organize my group and fly with my group and get to the same point with my group. But quantum linking is useless if I don't have party system. So
yes, if you have a good party system, ideally you should be able to jump to where they are, because you can actually find them in the first place.
Also, even a service beacon, because if one person can drop a beacon, you can all just walk to it. So to me, this was a feature that kind of fell a bit down the list. And when we talk about the next topic, I'll tell you exactly why I think it's probably not the best one. But anything else you want to add to that, Haze or Algared? Or is this a short and sweet one?
I think we need to get on to the next topic, because it sort of derails the first.
Yes, very much.
And we know that one's going to get some people excited.
Yeah. So the next one is improved interdiction. So I guess I'll take this one a little bit here. So basically, for me, the reason why I said I don't think quantum linking is that good is if this one's not in there, there is no reason for you to warp together. Because if you can't be pulled out as a team, you're all going to end up in the same place anyway. So it's a chicken and egg type style scenario. I think the interdiction has to come before quantum linking. Therefore, I almost think these two need to go one after the other. So I don't understand why quantum linking was even the list before before interdiction, but that's just me.
The interesting thing is, like, even now, interdiction is not a popular mechanic. It's something everyone bitches about. It's something they've put in the game, and people have protested and complained about, and they literally had to tone it down.
They put it in because they thought it was fun. They put it in for the pirate people. They put it in for the people who want to grief others. Personally, I don't want to be pulled out when I'm trying to do a job.
Pirates can't interdict us right at the moment. At the moment, it's like, I'm getting pulled out. It's a pain in the neck. It's a feature I never really wanted. For some reason, they thought, but we want lots of, combat's fun. Everyone likes to do this sort of thing, and opposed to... And then we have, like, the original surveys where they voted what was the most popular thing to do. It was not... Is anything away from combat. Combat was one of the least popular roles. And the thing, people wanted to do exploration, they wanted to do industry type stuff, they wanted to do trading. And interdiction is forced introduction and enforced combat is what people don't want as a majority.
But it's fun. It's fun.
Where was the option to say remove introduction altogether? You know, it would have been popular. How many people would put that first? I think it would have been like the 100 of the top 3 most voted.
I'm going to play devil's advocate for a minute and say, while I agree with everything you guys have said, how do I put this? It's easy to implement. That's why it's coming early. I actually think
Easier than removing introduction?
I actually think it needs to, how do I put this? You need to actually have other gameplay elements in place, like things to actually do before you have interdiction as a main thing. I think it's going to drive a lot of people nuts, like you guys have just pointed out. But
I can see a place for storyline stuff of a vandal pulling you out of your flight travel.
But if you look at
see a place.
If you look at it as a gameplay element, going from A to B is one of the things we've been able to do since 2.0 type of thing. So this is the next thing, is stopping. And if you look at it as a gameplay mechanic, it is definitely an easier thing to implement than, say, almost anything else on the list. That said, it is damn annoying, and one of the worst things I hated about 3.0 was the frequency of interdiction. I think I counted 8 times once I went from one place to another.
Was it even one time past the very first experience where you actually appreciated the fact you were being interdicted there?
And
I mean, at the end of the day, is it fun? You were trying to do something else.
Can I be honest? If I was
other sort of bullshit.
If I was being interdicted by a player, I think it'd be more fun than it was interdicted by an NPC. And quite honestly, I can't think of anyone I've talked to in recent memory that hasn't just waited the time out and zipped out.
I can't be bothered to fight. That's right.
Yeah, I don't want to be.
If I'm trying to do my mission, if I'm trying to take a cargo run, I've got in from work, I'm buggered, I'm just getting in game to chill out. I've decided, I'll just do a couple of runs. And I've got a 20-minute run, and I get interdicted because, hey, 20 minutes is too long. People will get bored. It's going to drive me nuts. Seriously. It'll make me not want to play. What's the point of going in? I've got 30 minutes. I can't do my run in 30 minutes because I'm going to get interdicted.
All right.
Fuck it.
I think we need to move on to the next topic because we're going to go on and on about this, but I think people can clearly see where we stand on it. So the next one on the list is service beacon improvements, and this again carries into what we were just saying. If you have service beacons, you kind of don't need quantum linking, and in
fact, I would say a proper working service beacon thing is pretty much ties into the party system. That's like 2 topics, they're split into one.
Yeah,
it's like you can't have one without the other, really.
Because service beacons is Joe Blogg's doing his solo, he runs out of fuel, or he's damaged and needs some repair. He puts out a service beacon, or his ship's been destroyed and he's abandoned ship. He puts out his service beacon.
You're actually wrong there. That's what it is, Algared, is service beacons are already come. What you just mentioned is coming in 3.1. This is more like the advanced stuff. So to break it down, in my notes when I wrote them, I wrote basically contracts. That's basically what they're talking about. If you want to share the
rewards of a quest with your party, service beacons is how you do that.
Okay.
And at the end of the day, that is partying. Even if they don't have a party system that works, if server beacons are actually implemented, you can have more than one person doing the same quest or doing the same cargo run and being rewarded equally. This just allows people to work together, and is probably more important than an actual party system that works.
I think the biggest problem with this survey is they have really misleading titles for what each thing is meant to be.
It's rather disgusting that some of the titles should be merged into the same thing.
Yes. Some merged, some changed. For example, when we get down to the one that's called parties, that is actually fundamentally multiplayer missions. It's not where really the service beacons is the party stuff, and parties is multiplayer quests. It's just been worded in a weird way.
While we look at it and say, okay, merge them together, from a coding point of view, from the aspect of what they're doing in terms of the code and the other things that they've got to work on, they are separate. They're going to rely on different things, and I think that's what they're really trying to do. They're saying, okay, where do we want to focus our efforts in terms of clearing this up or focusing the code. And so
it's
it might seem they need to merge them, but
it's like saying quantum linking is a separate thing from interdiction. It's like, no, it's because this exists, this also has to exist, and so that they coexist together. I know they're two different topics, or maybe two different mechanics, but they exist in the same use case. One will not exist without the other. You can't have service beacon improvements without a proper functioning party system, because how are you supposed to get people together to do the service beacons, I guess? And same way back, you can't have proper service beacon improvements if you can't contact and group your mates up in order to do that service beacon together, or as a contract. It's sort of like you need both systems to interact and connect each other.
No, I totally agree. The next one is an interesting one. I was interested to know what both you gents think of this one, and it's first tier of guilds and associations.
Show this on the screen.
well, for me personally, that was one I wanted.
You want me to show it on the screen? Here we go. There we go.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to create members associations with the universe that give players different benefits. These will ultimately include Bounty Hunters Guild, Merchants Guilds, etc. So things like you'll get special discounts at different places and things like that. That's basically what I took out of it. So if you join the Repairers Guild, you would get discounts at places where you could buy repair items and stuff like that. And
well, my take on it is like any other big MMO. It allows you to create a guild, have all your guild members actually in the game so you can see them. And then being able to then, I don't know, you could set a tax or a discount, or have like service beacon based stuff that only that guild can see, basically. I think that's...
But I don't think from a description that's what they're talking about.
That's not what they're talking about. This was NPC based guilds. So the example he gave was one for the repair guilds, like for the Vulcan. They actually talked about in the Vulcan that there was a guild for people that own Vulcans, and I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head.
Then but it's not really first tier guilds, it's more like NPC factions then, isn't it?
Yes,
that's right.
But they're calling them guilds. That's what they're calling them.
Yeah, but that's okay. They can call it.
They're guilds and there's organisations. So you're thinking of the organisation system. This is actually guilds. So this is a slightly different...
This is the NPC faction grouping thing, and that's a good thing. I don't mind that, but yeah...
I think it's a pretty low priority, to be honest. It is. I want some more gameplay things in place before I want that in. Again, the prioritization order seems a little bit skewed to me. But yeah,
well, it's not a prioritization order. It's just a list they put together of the things they want in. But I think in terms of the faction system and the way they want the faction system to work, having that in early actually builds up that or the other things.
Experience of what people think of it, and you have to.
So that's basically a faction system.
Yeah, I agree. If they get the faction system in early, it could have dividends down the track.
So the next one is the party system, and I think this is one of the...
Did we talk about that?
No, this is the next one. We did talk about it a little bit, but we'll... because you got a little bit mixed up, but that's okay. So basically, this one says, the improvements will improve the player's ability to create groups, allowing them to team up with friends and join the same group instance and cooperate on jobs and missions. So what I really took out of that is this is multiplayer missions. That's what I took out of it, because a lot of that you can kind of already do already. Like we regularly join up as a party and play together already. It might be advancements on that or simplifications on that, but fundamentally the real new piece of news to me was multiplayer missions.
I don't think that's how it's going to work though. The way I see it is that every mission is a multiplayer mission if you want it to be. If you put it through contracts, through beacons and stuff like that, you can get any number of people to go on a single player mission and support that person and get a payout from that contract. Look, I think the only thing the party system really sort of covers is more along the lines that it allows you to team up and join with friends and group up and better coordinate themselves, which frankly up till recently has been almost non-existent.
I have to agree
or painful.
That a lot of these systems are mutually they're required. You can't have one without the other. And the more I go through this, the more it seems clear to me they almost all need to come at the same time. Not all of them. I think the only one I can really take out is guilds. and you can take out interdiction and quantum linking because of that, but there are still a few core pieces there. I think we're going to clearly see a lot of these in 3.2 regardless. Anyway, Algared, have you got anything to add to the party system topic there, or should I move on?
No, you can move on.
Cool. Alright, next one is team chat. Improvements to the team chat system that will polish communication between players and make the experience more robust and intuitive. Now, on...
I have one thing to say about this, one other thing only. Discord.
Yeah.
I'm ready to move on to the next topic.
People are already using Discord to their team chats anyway. So
Chris basically mentioned they haven't touched the text chat since the game started. It's been one channel. They would be adding multiple channels and stuff like that. Again, like these guys just said, it's not a high priority at the moment because you can just use Discord or any other chat service that exists anyway. And quite frankly, I still think to this day, people are still going to use Discord when this game comes out other than the in-game voice chat. I haven't seen a game that's got in-game voice where people just don't use it anyway because it tends to have drawbacks than benefits. But
even if they do use the in-game voice, they normally use a secondary voice with their main group and separate from the in-game group anyway. So like for various,
especially if you can be overheard.
Yeah.
On a private channel with my mates, you can't hear what I'm saying, and that's.
Or you
That's
want to talk with someone who's not with the group and they're just sitting in, you know?
So I can understand why you want to put that in and get that working. I can understand how that will fit in with things like FOIP. I can see how you want to, the in-ship communication going, and we'll add an element of, I could see in-ship communication would add a heap of fun if it's working right.
Alright, we're losing Algared a little bit there, man. You're breaking up a little bit, buddy, just so you're aware. I think we'll move to the next one, and the next one is economy... Oh, wait, I just realised I didn't turn it on. Economy, shopping, and UI experience. Now, the thing I really took out of this one, and I honestly think this is going to be one of the biggest ones for most people, is that this is a real blocker to being able to purchase ships in the persistent universe. So if you're just that guy that's got just an Aurora or a Mustang, this is going to allow you the ability to earn other ships and finally kind of look around a bit. And I think it's a win for everybody, including CIG.
This was a blocker for 3.0. I mean, at the end of the day, we didn't get to be able to customize ship weapons because this system really up to scratch.
Yep. And there's another, I think it's one of the last ones coming after this, is we talk about the finishing of item 2.0. I think this ship thing, again, goes hand in hand with that. So
it also goes in with the mission system as well. Like, what's the point of taking my cargo run and building up 6 billion UEC, or Alpha UEC, if I've got nothing to spend it on?
I agree with that. It's like if you have like 7 million Alpha UEC, but you can't spend it. What's the point of doing all these missions? There is no reward for spending your time in Star Citizen in 3.0. But hopefully they fixed it in 3.1. But the whole thing is item system 2.0, along with economy, shopping, UI experience. This all sort of ties in as to actually give you a reason to play the game, other than spending time with mates. Yeah,
and again, like you suggested, this is something that was meant to come in 3.0. We're still kind of doing a bit of tidy up. I'm very clearly seeing that there is, like, you can trim away the fat on some of these choices, but there's a core piece there that everyone wants, and they're all linked. So I got a feeling they've...
2.0 for how many years now? This is like the core system of Star Citizen. For goods to ships, progression, meta, anything else. Without this core system working,
so you can see that the next one,
the game is missing.
The next one is item 2.0 ship systems and weapons, and that is very closely linked as well. Because again, how can you buy ships and weapons if the ship kiosk doesn't work? But I think this is the top thing that's upvoted at the moment. Is that correct, guys? From what you've seen?
Yeah, it's one of the most.
About 30%. Yep, 30%.
Yeah. So again, I think they're very tied to each other, and you can't do one without the other. Like how are you going to be able to customize ships and weapons if they're going to give them to you? I don't think so. So while it's cool to be able to put different coolers and that on, I can't see them. It's cause and effect. How can you get the So just
the whole point of having a shopping UI experience is to be able to buy and upgrade and customize these sort of ships. I mean, you got to earn money in order to spend it, and so from buying ships to switching and upgrading and repairing ships, all of this, those two systems hand in hand.
Yep. So there seems to be two core pieces to me, and you guys can kind of change what I'm going to say here, but you've kind of got that shopping and ship experience, and then you've kind of got like a multiplayer party service beacon type area, and they are two separate things. I think they've almost got 3 topics for each one in this survey. So I think really what you're asking is, do you want ships and item customization, or do you want the ability to kind of play with your mates? Does that kind of summarize it in a very simplistic way for you two?
No, I think they broke it up into too many pieces. It's not simplistic.
No. What I'm trying to simplify it. I'm saying, would you rather be able to customize your ship and buy items for your ship, or would you rather play with your mates in kind of multiplayer scenarios? They're really the 2 options you're breaking it down to. They've just split it into all these different pieces, and it's a bit confusing because really the chicken and egg scenario, horse and cart type thing, you can't get one without the other.
I don't think it can be simplified into 2 bits because they've stuck in a bunch of stuff that I just don't like. And that doesn't fit in either of those. So
while you don't like I'm just looking at the way the vote is going for the first choice. At the moment, the vote is to party system and the item port system. So 30% for the party system. Everything else kind of tails off into.
If you look at it in the first vote, economy shopping and FPS AI combat came in as third and fourth options as well, though. It's worth noting that all the other options were generally under 10%. Actually, 7% or lower.
Yeah. So I think the next highest is like.
Before we talk about that, though, we really should talk about the last option in the survey, and that's the FPS AI. And really, what that kind of boils down to me is a bit more variety in quests. So when you go to a derelict or a wreckage or something like that, there might actually be some people there you got to kill, and that's actually bringing the first Star Marine type stuff in.
Well, the thing is, we've had FPS weapons for a long time. We haven't actually had a reason to use them other than to shoot your mates.
Yeah.
This is the AI combat. This is the AI combat. This is PvE, not PvP. So, as you guys know, I'm not a great PvP fan.
Well, this is not P versus P. This is very much PvE.
No, that's what I said.
Yeah.
This is very much PvE.
Sorry.
So I quite like.
You are breaking up still a little bit, Algared. I just want to point that out. So I am struggling to hear you a little bit. No, it's not your fault. Just letting you know.
Yep.
I think the quest variety is great. Again, I only really see 3 options in this survey when you break it down. Like I tried to say before, there is the multiplayer with your friends. There is the ship customization type style stuff and being able to buy ships in the game, and then this is the third option, to add variety to quests. And quite frankly, that's almost the order I would vote them in. But that's me. What would you guys vote for, or what did you vote for? And
well, first up, I think it's an oversimplification to put it into 3 points.
I'm doing it because I think you can. I really think you can, and we'll disagree on that point, and that's fine. But what would you vote for then, given the 8 options? Or 10?
First up, party system, just because it really is important. Item system 2.0 is a really big one because, bullshit, that makes Star Citizen as far as I'm concerned. And to be honest, can't remember what I voted for the third one.
Well, you can look it up if you go to the website. It'll be there. Your choices will still be there.
Well, I unfortunately did it before I watched the RTV, so I'm just going to say I'd probably stick with economy and UI.
I'll definitely say when I watched RTV, it changed my idea of most of what they were because, like I said, what they've called them is very different to what they kind of actually are in a lot of cases. Algared, what about you, man? What would you vote, or what did you vote?
Party system, service beacons, and then I was going to any, many, money, mo, and I went guilds.
Yeah. Right. My choices, I went party system, so no kind of surprise there. Then I went item 2.0, and then I went FPS AI combat. Because after I kind of broke it down, that's what I saw were the three options.
But if you look at the, just on that, if you look at the way the first round of voting goes, it goes item ports, 30%, party system 21%, FPS AI combat 14%, and they're the three highest votes. They're the top three.
I would really like to see all three of those polls combined, because I think that's how you're going to get a really accurate representation. And I actually think they'll do that internally. I'd be really interested to see... Well, in fact, we could do it. You could actually go through on a percentage basis and just add the percentages together, and it would then be out of 300%. And if you did it based on that, when they're merged together, we'd get a way more accurate representation. In fact, I'm very tempted to do that after the show and just see what the numbers come out as. Yeah,
well, you can sort of work it out from right now. It's still item system 2.0 works out ahead, like at the end, and then party system comes in second regardless.
Yeah, even on second round, the item ports is still the top version in terms of the second view. Party system is the third view, and the economy is actually second. So, but they're very close. Like it's 19, 17, 15.
Yeah, well, it actually goes in. I find the first two and number 3 and 4 right off the bat. It's item systems first, party system is second, and then third and fourth go to economy, shopping, UI experience, and FPS AI combat. And none of the other options come close to any of those four.
Yeah, so it kind of sounds like people want to be able to do everything on their own first before they get to the multiplayer stuff. That's just what I'm reading from what I see.
No, not party system. That's the second most popular.
But the item one is coming before that. So in my opinion...
that doesn't mean it's most... overall, you can't say that, party system is not popular when it
I'm not saying it's not popular, but what I'm saying is the item one is the first one, and that, to me, signifies people want their ships working before they go doing stuff together. That's just how I'm reading that. You can choose to read it how you want to, but that's how I'm choosing how to read it. So yeah,
because it's not a single point they pick one over the other. They got to pick multiple things, and the two things everyone picked was those two.
Yeah, but you're forgetting that I've simplified it down to 2 points because that's how I see them.
Yep.
So
what he's saying is that the majority
of the points. In fact, the first three should be said as people want these three things, and so I don't think you can say, they want this more than anything else over this, because that's not how the survey was structured. That's not the information it gave.
That's how I'm choosing to read it, and that's my opinion. I'm going to stick to it. But give me your opinion on how you see it. Yeah, that's fine. So give me your opinion on how you choose to read it. That's what I'm asking.
I just did.
All right. Algared, what about you then, man? How do you see it?
I think I'd probably agree with Hayes that the way it's structured, it's asking what are the top three choices that people want, and the top three choices seem to be item port, and party system, and the FPL and the FPS type stuff seem to be the way. They're the top three choices that are coming out through the survey.
It's like I said, I see it. There really is only three options, because when you break it down, a lot of them merge together, and they're the chicken and egg scenario. And that's why I keep simplifying it to 3 points.
Moving away from the most popular points, the most interesting data gathered from the survey is what was the least popular, and that was actually interesting the most, because when you look at interdiction, and you look on the very first part of it, it's 1%. That means 99% of people would not pick that as their first choice. And you move into their second choice, 3%. And then if you move into the third choice, 5%. If you average that over, well, let's average that. That's very interesting, isn't it? It's 1%, 3%, and 5%.
It's 3% out of 100. When you do the math, it's 3%.
Less than 3%.
Yeah, less than
8%. 8 out of 300.
Thought Introduction was mentioning out of a 3-point survey. And that basically tells you the vast majority of people who play Star Citizen don't give a shit about Introduction.
So, but that's probably the ratio we're going to possibly see if Pirates do. 3% out of 100.
God, I hope so.
Oh, no. Chris Roberts has us sold on this idea that Introduction, that you're going to be bored going 20 minutes between A and B unless we have something to do, and therefore Introduction is like
don't
key
do that
to make the game long-lasting and interesting. And as far as I'm concerned, he can.
I want to do my job. I've got 20 minutes to do shit. I can do a 10-minute run. I just want to do my job. I don't want to be. I just want to do my job. I have plenty of things that interest me in the spaceship, go around and repair, or like if it's Spectrum's involved, chat to my friends, look at the latest news, look at information on the verse. There's a million things you can do. Hey, if I got players on my ship, man, it's play a game of chess or do anything else that comes in.
Cards out, some Othello. That's not hard to implement. Shit, you know, it's like
we've also got those card games, you know, like Trigger and other things. So.
The idea that we want to be interdicted at all is in his head, and I just think it's like when the whole thing that people wanted to explore more than any other mechanic completely surprised him. He didn't learn that lesson. He's still in his combat FPS mentality that we're going to be bored unless we do combat on a regular basis.
Well, maybe that's why he's doing this.
I think he's wrong.
Maybe that's why he's doing the survey. Maybe he wants more information, and maybe that's...
Yeah, but did he ask people who don't want Introduction, remove it as a feature? I reckon if that was on the survey, it would have been in the top 3. Yay, the top 2.
No, top 1.
Most voted.
Top 1.
That's a safe
I personally think top 1, but you know, that's just me.
I would want Interdiction, but I just wouldn't want the frequency that it was at in 3.0, and I'd want it to be a sparse event. I wouldn't want it to be like... I wouldn't want it to happen once a day type of thing.
This survey says people don't give a shit about this. And the reason they don't give a shit about it is because they see it as nothing more than an eyesore, a pain in the neck, and something they don't even like. And this is the biggest takeaway from the survey.
The other thing I took away from it was that the ease you could possibly get away from... Like, he was saying that there's going to be a special like beacon or something that you can see on one of the ships, that it's powered, and that's the ship you've got to take out before you can get out of the warp field, or you can just fly away from them. So if it's very easy just to fly away, like at the moment it's very easy to fly away from
Star Wars interdiction ships.
Basically. Yeah, if you can just fly away from it and then warp off, I actually reckon that's what 99% of people do. Especially if you just rock up in a Starfarer and you can't fight them, you're just going to get out of there.
Well, they've been talking... Well, the people already do that already. They don't stop and fight the pirates. There's no real benefit to them. They just try to get out of there and ignore them. That's what people do now. And they're even talking about trying to stop people from doing that and saying they have a range of interdiction fields, so you have to get so far away from the device before you can then warp away. They're trying to make this even harder for us now. They're trying to make...
If they do that... If they do that, people will kind of rebel and complain.
I actually think while it's talked about as an AI thing, it has a carryover into the PvP. And I actually think the interdiction thing is there for the players who want to interdict other players or interdict NPCs. And I hate the idea.
That's fine, but like make it so players can do it, but give it to the NPCs because no one gives a shit.
When you do the player versus player stuff, I think this kind of comes back to what we're saying with the chicken and the egg type stuff, Algared, where you're actually going to need the multiplayer gameplay, because if I can go in my Starfarer and my mate's escorting me in a Super Hornet as an example, that totally changes how I am at the moment. Yep. You know, like if it's my mate's on a turret on my Starfarer, that's crap because just turrets don't work at the moment. But if he's in a Starfarer and he's actually, in a Super Hornet and he's escorting me, or a couple of mates escorting me, that actually then almost kind of becomes fun, because that player that is interdicting me, he's probably going to get destroyed.
You interdict me and that guy interdicting me didn't realise, oh shit, he's got an escort of 3 Hornets. Now I've got to take them out.
So I can see the place for interdiction. I really can. But it's not there because the other multiplayer... Yeah, that's right. Exactly right. It's just not there now. It's there. It's just too early. Backpedal a little bit. I know it's easy to implement it. Just back it off until you brought the other multiplayer stuff forward. It's that simple. It's not get rid of it. It's just... You know how they put ships on hold? Put interdiction on hold. That's simple.
Yeah. On ice.
Permanently, in my opinion, but hey.
Yeah, well... Wait and see, Algared. I think I'll get you on a pirate mission and you'll see how fun it can be.
If they want us to get into like combat and just make it at the points we actually have to stop off at, you know, like make it the places we go interesting by making them dangerous as opposed to having to be interdicted midway. That's what I prefer to see.
Yep, I'd make the wrecks that we go to more dangerous. I'd have AI combat there. I'd have, you know, a Vandal scouting party. I'd have, you know, whatever, but don't interdict me on the way of the bloody mission.
The probability
unless the interdiction
real life scenario is so slow. Space is huge. Space is big. People have to go severely out of the way to try and get in between the location you're going from and to. It's completely... It's one of those things that will never happen in real life
unless
it's too inconvenient to even try to set up.
Unless the attempted interdiction is tied to the mission I'm doing. I don't want to.
I think I like that idea. The idea that you're already there, and then they set up an interdiction device that stops you from jumping away. That makes sense. That promotes and generates new and interesting gameplay because I'm already there. It's just an added factor of what I've already gotten myself into. That
even if it's there stopping me get there. If I'm trying to fly there and part of the mission is both those elements, those Vandal or pirates or whatever it is that's been there and trying to stop me.
I think the worst idea of this is it's random interdiction. This is not something that was just there already waiting for you or part of a mission. It's just randomly, I have gone an X amount time in this direction, randomly put a pirate pop in the middle of nowhere who probably shouldn't be in the middle of nowhere because we're out in open space, and then he interdicts you. That's not how interdiction should work. That should be like covered in kerosene and burnt in a fire. Because that's disgusting.
One other thing I want to bring up real quickly that I think it's too early as well, and I'll give you another a point. I'm going to connect these two things. It's not a tangent. Is things that are too early, like the interdiction is one, especially when the moment that we're talking about people losing all their UEC because they get interdicted or a bug and the ship crashes and they lose all their UEC because they were doing cargo transport. That's one. But the other that I'm really not liking as of the PTU right at the moment is I would spawn in, say, a Terrapin or a Reclaimer and I'd be flying around and the game would crash. They've implemented much higher pay for expedience fees, and I had about $20,000 credit, and literally within an hour I only had 15 because and I hadn't done any missions because the game just kept crashing. So I'm a bit worried that they're implementing these features. They need to dial them back to say a 10% ratio of what they would be given live. And it's the same thing with the interdiction. We're in a small system. We don't need frequent interdiction, and I think they need. I know they need to test it, but I think they can do it at a smaller ratio.
Interdiction, fine. Random interdiction is not fine. Random interdiction, like being pulled out of space from the middle of nowhere when you're going from point A to B, that is not fine. If you're already at a location and someone interdicts you to stop you going to warp because they want to chase you down, and that's part of a mission or even a location. That's good.
Yeah. If it's a player doing it,
that's even fun. Even if it's an NPC as part of a mission, that's brilliant. But the way that it's acting it out now is just plain disgusting. It is annoying. It shouldn't see the light of day.
Once they get shipping routes in, and players can see what common shipping routes are, the NPC system for interdiction should be linked into that, and they would then set up interdiction routes on the more popular shipping routes. That to me makes logical sense.
The current system like that doesn't work like that because you could walk out in the middle of space when nowhere and take a non-shipping route and they'd still interdict you, and that's disgusting. You can't use a scout. You can't do any way of preventing that. In real life, sure, that's fine. If you go in past this particular part of a zone, you're likely to be interdicted. But, you know, it's based on a location, not random interdiction. Random interdiction has no place in this game. And even if it's a stopgap feature, please remove it.
The other thing I'd like to know would be, here's a question for you. I know it's a little bit off topic, but if say you had a Saber Raven with an EMP and you get interdicted, if you then set off your EMP next to said ship that has the beacon, will that disable it for long enough for you to warp? I'm curious whether that would be a valid strategy. Giving another reason for Warlocks and Sabers to exist. I think that would be really cool if that was an actual mechanic.
When they move interdiction to actual items, then maybe. But at the moment, no, that doesn't work.
Alright, so this has kind of been a fairly lengthy show. Is there anything else anyone wants to add?
Yeah, we do need to talk about the last part of the survey.
Oh, yeah, we kind of glossed over it, didn't we?
The last part is the profession-based mechanic.
Yeah.
We haven't touched it at all.
Yeah.
So what profession-based mechanics do you want them to focus on? Salvage, repair, or refuel?
Yeah. Oh, you're talking about the last ones. Hang on, I need to scroll down on that one.
Yeah, the last ones.
People will be able to see what I voted, though. This will be biased. No, it's fine.
No, you picked the safe choice, so...
Yeah. No, I like my Reclaimer. It's my favourite ship.
That's why it got picked the most. I mean, the Reclaimer's out. Everyone wants to see salvage. They want to use their big ship. They want the claw to work. Of course they're going to pick salvage. Personally, though, I think the most important one out of those, it has to be a mixture of repair and refueling, because like being able to maintain the ships we already have and working in a group, salvage doesn't fit in there, especially the early iterations of salvage. That doesn't promote group play as much as repair does, or refueling does.
I think salvage has got an easier loop to implement because you reclaim ships and you can sell it.
It does.
I think repair personally is too weak because it's only going to be with hand tools. So if I was to put them in a preferential order, it would be A, C, then B. Refueling, I think, would be awesome with a Starfarer. I'm really looking forward to that.
My argument is that, yes, salvage is popular. It's going to be popular because we have a Reclaimer. And
salvage is popular because you're going to have a Reclaimer.
But the more important systems are repair and refueling because it promotes team gameplay. Working with other ships or people working as a team in multi-crew.
No, I agree with that, but I think also repair is just not where it needs to be. Unless there's no ship for it. That's why it won't be voted up. And if you look at it in the ship scenario, you've got it's not a ship that's not in the game. We've got a Reclaimer and we've got a Starfarer for the other two, so I can see those two. But when you don't have a Vulcan or a Crucible to do that repair mechanic, I do know we have the drones. I know we have the drones.
We're talking 3.2.
I still think it's not really a ship. Like when you've got a salvage system that's going to make that Reclaimer come alive, or a refueling system that's going to make that Starfarer come alive, that's how people are going to vote. And when you've got Reclaimer versus Starfarer, it's like you guys have said, people are going to vote the Reclaimer. So
as I said, I explained there's the popular vote, and it explains why people voted. But I have to argue, and I didn't vote for the ones I thought were more important. I voted for the ones that I wanted to see. But our argument here is the more important ones are repair and refueling over salvage.
I actually think the most important one is refueling. Yes, and that is actually what I voted, even though it's the lowest one. But we've already got the Starfarer in game. This is not just refueling using the little drones of a Vulcan. This is gathering fuel, transporting fuel, and refueling. This is having serviceable, actual, usable Starfarers.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, you interact with them, whether you're flying
and you're interacting. Your Reclaimer will need the refuel. Everyone will need the fuel. So
all ships.
I can't believe I'm saying this, but I actually agree with you. Now you put it like that, I actually think the Starfarer is the most important one. I didn't think of it like that, but yeah,
I think the reason why the salvage is up is because of a Reclaimer. Everybody who's got a Reclaimer
and it's fresh on people's minds.
See it. And it's big, it's awesome, it looks fantastic. And it's got the big munchy claw. What's not to love?
But yeah,
they're going to be disappointed because the first point to salvage is not going to use the reclaimer. It's going to be hand tools, and they'll be like, but.
I think refueling is really going to touch every ship in the game. So yeah, it is definitely the most important system. Repair, yes, but repair you can repair though. You can just claim a new ship, so it's not as in.
Yep. No. Repair is like I can swap out a component that's damaged with another component because item system 2.0, and maybe the possibility of repairing that component with a hand tool. That all of a sudden, like I look at Helion, and that's a huge level of gameplay that makes that game
that's big as well.
But they probably needed to explain this more than they actually did then, because again, like the things from RTV, I changed my opinion on it. Now I've actually started to think about this. I wish I could re-vote. That's the other thing. You can't change your vote. Once you vote, you're stuck.
No.
And it really is stupid.
Well, unless you got old accounts.
Yeah. I still just think that they need to be able to give you the option to change your opinion, because people do change their minds when they learn things, and I can guarantee you today I've changed my minds on some topics, and you guys have probably done the same.
I voted before I watched the RTV, so look at me.
Yeah. So yeah.
Well, I voted refueling because I thought Starfarer, it touches everyone. It's actually the gathering fuel. It's not just transporting
the
fuel.
Starfarer touches everyone. Okay.
Yes, not inappropriately. It's okay.
Okay. Oh, as long as it's appropriate, that's fine.
It's going to poke every ship, literally.
Yeah. Not inappropriate touching. It's okay.
Stick its big refueling rod in places where it doesn't belong. Okay.
It's an exchange fluids.
Yeah. God. This is going downhill real fast. All right. I think we'll call it here for today, but I think it's been a really interesting discussion. You can see that we don't really still agree on it. On any of the topics, it's going to fly all over the place for everyone. Vote with what you think is the best. I would highly recommend watching RTV. It really changed my perspective on things. I do wish they talked about the vote for professions a lot more on RTV, because that little insight just between us three has totally changed my perspective on it drastically. And I think the Reclaimer being at the forefront and just around the corner, everyone is voting with the ship, not the actual profession. And with what Algared said...
Where did we see that type of voting before?
Oh, that was the Drake vote on a ship one, wasn't it?
Mm-hmm. Everyone
had already voted the ship that almost won before
the scout carrier,
explaining what they were.
Yeah, so I think I really... a feature I'm coming back to again. We need to be able to change our votes. I think that would drastically, if there was a save button and you could just click save and then change and then save it again. That would be drastically awesome. I don't know if they can implement that, but man, it'd be awesome if they could.
No, they can't because it's turbulent. And it's going to take a couple of years before we get that feature.
All right. Do you want to wrap us up, Haze? And we'll...
Yes, this has been another
disaster,
perhaps long but interesting disaster of a podcast of the Inforunners. You can find us on our YouTube channel. If you have any comments, please put them below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We're nearly over the 1,000. Are we over the 1,000 yet? We're getting close to 1,000 subscribers.
Maybe after this video. I don't know. Maybe we'll lose people. I think I have no idea.
Maybe we'll lose people. Yeah. Oh god.
Yeah.
But we'll also check out
I would actually encourage people join the Discord. We do have a Discord for the Inforunners, and we'd love to see what you think in terms of this topic. Join us on Discord. Leave your topics there, or leave suggestions for a show, and we'll get back to you.
Or shoot us a message individually. You can join the Discord and shoot us a message, and we'll get back to you. We'll even set up a time to meet and talk to you. It'd be great. All right. I've been Execute. This is the Living Shackpole. The Living Shackpole. And this is...
This is Haze. And as always, we'll catch you around.
Bye.